Hello there, it's Mike.
And Katie.
That's right, it's episode 119, and what are we talking about today, Katie?
Some dragon movies.
This week on Cup of Red. Welcome back. I bet you missed us.
It's been 84 years. Felt like it, I know. I know you missed us.
Yeah. It was a long time. Sorry we didn't announce that we were missing a week. It just kind of happened.
Whoops.
Things got a little chaotic. I've been working a lot, and the 5 a.m.s have been really kind of kicking my butt, just for tired wise. Yeah. And then Katie got a new job suddenly.
Nothing like a 3-day lead time. So
that was a bit of a shock to the system. So it kind of threw us a bit for a loop.
So we're trying to find some back to normal schedules now.
Yeah, so the
attempt. Bear with us while we figure this stuff out.
It's the whole balance of everything, right? Because you have the enjoyment of doing this and bringing the fun of this to everyone, but then also balancing real life and health and parenting and work. And then just downtime too. And sometimes it can be a little bit overwhelming. Yeah. Right. I've taken to posting at 5:30 a.m. instead of later because that's the time I have, my free time. So for my photos on Instagram on our Cup of Red account, I find that is the easiest time for me now. Yeah. I don't have time at 7:00 to join in any of those hashtags. So I post in the morning now. Yeah. And that's what I'm doing. And this month I'm doing kind of like a black and white thing. I don't know why. Yeah, you got some
really cool photos going on right now.
I don't know why. It just
felt right.
Yeah, it felt right. So I know I was challenged to do a whole month of pop, so I might do that in April.
That'll be fun.
So we'll see what happens.
We know we have lots of pops.
So yeah, it's just a matter of finding the right ones and the right background. I'm hoping the weather will change. Yeah. And we'll get some good weather so I can maybe get back to some outdoor shots. Maybe that'll help with sort of the health aspect of getting some movement and being right. So how you doing, Katie?
I'm good. So I had a celebratory weekend.
Yeah, we celebrated early.
Celebrated my birthday early. I had a whole weekend to myself, which was just first time in a long time. So. No, it's exciting because then you get all of next weekend. I mean, how exciting is that?
I'm curious to see how that'll go.
Oh.
Okay. No.
Well, I had a good time. I ate decadent food, and I've got some awesome fun gifts from the family there. Speaking of pops, I have a Freddie Mercury dressed up like a king.
Or a queen.
How about Freddie Mercury as royalty? Pop, is that better? So I want one of those. I wanted a Freddie Mercury because we have other music rock icons, and that one was the most interesting version of them. Yeah,
because we have Elton John and Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah, so that one was really fun. So we have that, and then I got an awesome Wonder Woman from McFarlane.
It's the Last Night on Earth version. So
yeah,
she's got a mohawk,
and she's got I really like the outfit design. It's a really cool figure. It's been a long time since I've got a Wonder Woman action figure. So that was really exciting.
Yeah, I was impressed because that one was only solicited like 3 months ago.
I know, right? I've been waiting for Mezco for like forever, but
a year and 3 months.
This actually happened, so I'm gonna run with it.
Right.
And then I got I only have one more now, but Sailor Moon mangas, I have 11 and 12 you got me.
Yeah, we have to find 10.
So we still got to find 10, but that's pretty awesome to have that collection there again. I'm excited to read that again. I watched quite a few Sailor Moon, the animated series, with breakfast, and shared some of that with you guys, and watched some of the crazy villains on there are hilarious. Their costumes and their designs are just what the I think my favorite episode that I've seen in a while was they got trapped into this demonic realm, and they were in the house but in a whole bunch of different dimensions, and so everything kept changing. and all the world around them. They would step through a door and there was this type of world, and they would move here, and then they ended up fighting this demon that was just wanting to play games with them. And I thought that was actually a really cool episode. It was the most interesting because it was actually them dealing with more Sailor Moon stuff and not so much of like school and like regular things. So.
Yeah, it was a full episode.
Yeah, right from the very beginning.
Usually
right?
the bad guys go so quick, right?
Yeah, and that was like the most airtime that one of the demons had. Usually it's just like they pop up to fight and then we're done. And that one was actually toying with them a little bit more. It was a bit more of a villain, so that was really cool. And yeah, so it's been a good time.
I'm glad you had a good birthday.
I did.
That's good. That's good to know.
Yeah.
So what have we watched?
Oh, a little bit of everything.
What are we going to talk about? Well, we checked out the first episode of Superman and Lois.
Yeah.
Which was a bit of because we dropped all the CW shows.
Mm-hmm.
So when it came to the whole DC section, and only because so many of them became really long and they didn't really feel like the characters as much. But I was curious at least to check out the first episode of Superman and Lois. What'd you think?
You know what? It was like a little mini movie. It was better than I expected. I really enjoyed Superman. I didn't know anything at all what to expect going into it. So I was a little taken back at first when they made it so far into his life, and that he had kids and everything like that. But it was an interesting new chapter that we'd never really seen of him. And I did enjoy that, seeing him already established, already well in control, knew how to react. You know, there was no training involved. There was no unsure. That
first kind of scene when he comes to the reactor and he sees the crack and he runs out to the ocean and freezes and brings a iceberg in.
That was so awesome.
Without really even skipping a beat. His confidence was there, and it just made the scene and made that powerfulness of Superman.
Well, yeah, because epic, right? Like when it was like, well, you need water in there. How are you going to bring water in there? And it's like, and then he does that. I was like, oh, that makes total sense. Yeah. You know, it was like watching him in the animated series, you know, because he always just knew what to do in the animated series. Yeah. And I thought that was really fun, not having the like, I don't know what to do. I'm going to sit here and like worry and panic and all this drama. You just got it done.
Yeah.
And I like that he wasn't fighting against the military. Like they were just, he was okay. You know, he was just accepted part of the world. It wasn't living in fear and all that other, you know. Yeah. There'd be other, I'm sure, coming down the line.
Well, when you look at it, it had that really cool homage with his original costume. Mm-hmm. You know, my mom made it moment and the green car and all that.
Well, he's just so happy.
From that first cover too, right?
Yeah.
And then seeing like the new costume that they put him in, because I never really liked the costume that he'd had in the other CW shows. It was a little bit more like plated almost looking feel. But then this one here looked a little bit similar more to like the movies.
Yeah.
But yeah, all in all, I'm excited to watch a couple more episodes. I'm curious to see where it's going to go. At least has my interest right now.
Yeah.
I usually give a show 3 or 4 episodes, then see if it's, you know, are we going to continue or not. But it has my interest, and if you're a Superman fan, I'm probably get a pretty good kick out of it.
Yeah, the only thing that it wasn't a bad thing. It just was like, wow, it just keeps going. It really felt like there was just so much that they really.
Well, the first episode was an hour.
Yeah, but right? it really, there was a lot of stuff happening, which I'm not used to because I'm used to more filler. Yeah. And I felt like there was a lot of story in one go, you know? So that was impressive.
Being the pilot, I'm sure it had the better hook feel with the longer, because they had to introduce things. And
the other thing we noticed, too, was that there was a sense of hope with the children. You know, they had every reason to be angry.
Yeah.
And they'd already let go of it by the end. You know, it's probably going to come back as what you would expect with something major, that there's going to have their ups and downs, but it wasn't just still brooding and angry. And it was, okay, well, how do we deal with this moving forward? It's not, well, how do we still find ourselves? How do we get out of this hole still?
Yeah.
You know, and that was something different.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was nice.
We tried out Resident Alien.
Alan Turnducken. Wobble wobble. King Candy.
We'll just do that.
So I didn't know it was based on a comic, but then surprise, everything's based on a comic now or a book, which actually is really sad when you think about it, how much television is just adaptations now. Everything's an adaptation of something. And we'll talk more about things that are adaptations on this episode. But it's basically the idea that he is an alien that crashed and took over the life of someone, and he gets pulled into the town because they think that he's this guy and he's a doctor, and the doctor of the town in this little like nowhere town in Colorado has died, and then they have to solve mysteries, solve the death. The rest of the series apparently is about solving mysteries. There's like 5 or 6 episodes already out. We've only watched one.
Yeah.
The episode, I was hoping, because I really like King Candy. But it was like, there was a lot of good, quirky, but there was a lot more drawn out. The episode felt like, unlike we talked about with Superman and Lois, where I felt like there was a lot going on, I didn't really feel bored in that show.
Yeah. This
is a shorter show, and yet there was moments where I was feeling kind of bored because it was like, the supporting characters weren't even interesting enough in that first episode to really feel like I liked King Candy, doing his thing, because it was weird and quirky. And I was like, where's this going to go? Like when he, was sniffing the body and trying to deduce when it was, how long it had been, or, when it's like, oh, it's just like Law and Order. Dun dun.
That was hilarious. Right? Yeah.
Like I loved that. That hooked me. But then some of the other stuff, I was just like, oh my God.
It was a little, it was definitely boring. And I will give it a little bit to see if it was just the initial, introduction. But say if we're comparing Superman and Lois and this one, for hook wise, they definitely did not have a big enough hook, in my opinion, for that first episode.
Yeah.
I know they're trying to give that sense of like, you want to know more of what the alien, why, because he was here to research and destroy humanity. Okay, so it's an interesting as to like, why do they know this? But at the same time, it sounds bad, but it's not really far-fetched to think about that human, aliens would see us as some sort of threat too. So it's like, whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe he's like Zim. It's Invader Zim. It's live action Invader Zim. He's trying to blend in, trying to take over the world. It's good stuff. There we go. That's...
Oh, okay. Just like that, huh?
Just like that.
Just like that. Okay. Fair enough. WandaVision.
That was the main event of TV right here.
Yeah. WandaVision has happened. It's our first Marvel experience in a long time. 8 episodes. 9 episodes? 8 episodes? 9 episodes? 9 episodes? I don't know.
A certain amount of episodes?
Get my facts straight. I don't know. You don't know.
Geez, dude.
Who knows? Who knows what we're talking about? It could be anything.
We don't count the number of episodes, just the next one.
The next one.
So we watched the series finale.
Yeah.
I love that was the episode title.
Yeah, that it was interesting seeing how the episode titles changed throughout the series.
Yeah.
Here, spoiler. We're just gonna spoil all over this one.
Well, it's funny because Kiddo turns on, he's like, time for the series finale. And we're like, what? And he's like, oh, no, that's what the episode's called.
Right?
So, spoiling. Go ahead.
Well,
you can't talk about it without spoiling it at all, so.
Yeah, we've stayed away from it for most part and all that. But I really liked it. The series was well done. The whole entire series is basically just about Wanda dealing with her grief.
Yep.
And I think it was really cool to see how they brought layers to a character that was really always just portrayed very one-dimensionally in the films. She was just a powerhouse that came in and would save things or do something.
Yeah, she didn't really have much backstory, really. Or
it was in passing, right? Like, it's like, oh, yeah.
No one really, it sounds bad, but no one really cared about her.
Yeah, they didn't really flesh her out.
The only time they actually started building a little bit more of like care was then when her and Vision had a relationship, when it was more like, oh, that's cute. Mm-hmm. Well, let's be honest, right? And it was heart-wrenching when she watched Vision die. But at the same time, was it really because of her or was it because of Vision?
Yeah.
Because to me, I felt more of a connection to Vision.
Well, because...
And I feel bad for her by all means.
Vision's been there since the very beginning. He's been there since the first Iron Man.
Right? And so...
just as Jarvis.
As Jarvis, right? So they didn't give it enough to really warrant caring, and this made you care and feel her pain, right? And I thought that, but at the same time being like, holy crap, she's terrifying.
Right, yeah, so I think it's really cool, you know, this is like the third time we've got to watch Vision die.
Oh yeah, it's been great.
Right? He just keeps dying. So that was pretty trippy. What do you think of White Vision?
This is my only gripe for the ending of this, is when he shows up and he has this like philosophical conversation with Vision, which was fantastic. With what are we gonna call him? WandaVision? With Wanda's vision. So he has this like philosophical conversation with him. Awesome. Has some like existential crisis and just takes off. And it really bothers me that I don't know what happened to him.
Yeah, I'm assuming that it's going to come up somewhere else.
Yeah. But I thought it'll be an end credit scene. It was not. And I am very disappointed. And it's eating at me. Where did the White Vision go?
Yeah.
So that's my only gripe with that one.
Okay.
I mean, he was scary. And of course the military found a way to weaponize him.
Right.
I mean,
well, you know, it's funny though, is that because they talk about how
a little confused by it, but
how he was like worth all this in vibranium and all that, and then it's like, how on earth did they get that off of Wakanda soil then? Right? Because like that's a question.
Yeah.
How did?
Yeah, you would think, why would the Wakandans let them leave with that?
Yeah.
Maybe they were telling them it would be something to do because he was an Avenger, and maybe they lied to them about with Wanda and the Avengers and everything.
Still doesn't make sense, because
no, it doesn't.
They would have taken it because it was their it was like their metal and all that. Like there was no reason why
it doesn't fit with the Wakandan history of things.
Wanting to reclaim
all of the
vibranium.
Yeah, you're right.
So
that is a question.
Conundrum, even.
Yes.
A quandary,
even.
Yes. But then there's also the Sword shows up and does stuff.
Yes. They show up and do things.
Like every organization, we find out that they're always a bunch of asshats.
Yep. A bunch of clowns, you might say.
Monica Rambeau gets her powers.
That's really cool.
Which was pretty awesome to see.
Well, and it shows, I like that she had different colors for the different energy that she was dealing with.
Yeah. And
that was really fun to see. It'd be interesting how they handle that character going forward if she shows back up. Or...
I'm assuming with that end credit scene, it's going to tie into the Secret Invasion.
Yes. I remember you telling me that.
Or possibly maybe Captain Marvel 2.
There is going to be a Captain Marvel 2?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're working on that. They are working on that.
Nice.
So that would make sense.
Yeah, definitely.
I think one of the best things from WandaVision that really showed out of everything was the aftermath of the re-snap, or whatever they called it.
Unsnapping?
The unsnapping.
I like that.
The unsnapping.
The unsnapping.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone was fucked up. I'm sorry.
Well, it's just scary to see because people were coming back. You know, they're 5 years later.
Well, we saw a bit of it in Spider-Man, but it was...
Well, but they were already there. I'm talking about like the actual like reforming.
Yeah.
Because we never saw that in Spider-Man.
Oh, okay.
Right? We saw the aftermath of them already back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But like when the hospital scene where
people
were actually coming
at
back.
The immediate time. Gotcha.
And they were coming back in the exact same spot where they left.
Yes.
And so people were getting run into and,
it was mass
showing
chaos.
up.
Yeah, gotcha.
Right? We heard it in passing, like within Spider-Man, where it was like, well, yeah, a new family was in our house. Like,
yeah.
So I think that was kind of a cool thing to see because we hadn't seen that. We hadn't seen the unsnapping of the world, right?
Yeah.
And how that really would have been traumatic. Like,
well,
and to them, they didn't even realize that they were gone, right? Which is even worse.
Yep.
Right? It's just like to them, they're just not 5 years later.
Well, because with Monica waking up, it's just like, what the heck? What's happening? Where's my mom? What's going on? And I mean, that would be a horrible panic for sure.
Right. So I think the whole thing does show, though, it's grief, it's dealing, it's all those stages of grief. And that idea, though, that by the end of it, if you don't deal with your traumas and your grief, you start infecting others.
Yes.
Even if you're not meaning to or realizing it, but you infect others and they start getting pulled down by your problems.
Yeah. Yeah, how easy it is to pass on trauma and grief and overwhelming amounts of things, and how damaging it can be, not just for you, but for the world around you. And yeah, that it was so pertinent when they were just like, we're overwhelmed with your grief and your thoughts and your anger and your sadness, and we feel your pain, we feel your nightmares. And she had no idea.
Yeah.
And that was definitely emotional to see them all wake up and be begging her for freedom, so yeah.
And you take it on that whole like metaphor or symbolism and all that, you can really tell how that does affect people. These stories are great because they hide what they're trying to say under the gauze of superheroes,
and
right?
That's exactly what makes them good stories. And that's one thing that I love with, I think Marvel does a good job of finding different ways to weave that in, and that's the mark of a good character development is, when it can stand for something else, a symbolism of some sort, right?
Right.
So,
and that's what this series brought. It brought development to Wanda.
Yeah.
It propelled her character forward.
I love that she is now named the Scarlet Witch.
Right.
And that they gave a legitimate reason for it, not just like, I need a moniker now.
Right.
Like, where's my fancy name? And for her, she was never a witch, right? Yeah. And now it was such an organic development of the name. And it was super exciting. And then they gave a reason for the outfit, a bit more for the crown type thing. And with this coven aspect. And I love the history where you learn that she had a connection to the Mind Stone way back when, and her powers.
Well, it's showing that she potentially was either a witch or a mutant.
Something beforehand, right?
Something was in her that changed, right?
Yeah. So it joined together with this, and I loved knowing so much of that history. I think it really made a huge difference for the character, and now where she is. And especially after the end credit scene, I mean, the world is going to be forever changed.
Well, you still don't know if she's going to be good or bad.
No, she could go either way.
Because honestly, I think the way that she dealt with Agatha is still very cruel.
Yep.
By just willing her to be something different. Just because she smiles, she thinks it's funny. Right? Like, it's still a cruel punishment. So that evil is creeping out. Her brokenness is still there. And then, yes, with that end credits, she's looking to find her family again.
Well, it's very vindictive.
Yeah.
Right?
Right?
Yeah, and what you were kind of thinking, because you could hear the kids crying, is she looking in other dimensions for them? Like, so,
is that where it's going, especially with the multiverse of madness? Is she going to, try to pull them from somewhere else? And as I say, she's
pulling a Fisk from Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and the world is going to break because of it.
Yeah.
Like, there you go. It's we've already seen that idea happen. It's going to be
it's going to be wild to see where that goes. What do you think of how they treated the Evan Peters red herring?
I thought that was really it was such a surprise with that.
Yeah.
Because now you find out that it's just Agatha just pulled someone out of the town.
Yeah. And
was trying to mess with her.
Yeah.
And get information. It was basically like she made him,
because she couldn't get Pedro's actual body.
Yes.
Right.
So then she just does that, and I thought that was funny because she would have had no idea that, so it was like a nod for us watching it, but that was why he looked different, that here we are thinking they use a different dimension or something like that, but it still didn't make sense as to why she would have done that.
Right.
And you could tell that she didn't have control. She said it wasn't her, but that's why she just assumed that she had done something like that without thinking. And so she opened up. And it shows how sneaky Agatha really was for that then.
Right.
And,
I'm kind of actually relieved that it wasn't Quicksilver from the Fox X-Men. Honestly, I am relieved because, what? I want the MCU to be able to build their mutants
independently, right?
How they want.
Yeah.
How they want to see it without any baggage.
Yes. They shouldn't bring anything over from that.
I hope that they don't. I hope that they just start fresh with whoever they're thinking about doing and creating it that way.
Oh, no, they're going to bring Jane and Wolverine over. Like,
you're an ass. Yeah, like I think they should just start fresh.
Oh, don't forget they're gonna be madly in love, by the way. He's like, I'm not talking to you anymore. I'll stop talking. Go ahead.
So I think that was kind of cool that it was literally just a red herring, because that's the thing that's dangerous about fan theories, is that without the information, things can run rampant. So the moment people heard that he was in the show and that they allowed him to be seen as Pedro, everyone's fan theory and YouTube hit with it. You know, he's going to be this, he's going to be that, and it's going to happen, and we're going to get the Fox X-Men. They're coming. You know, we're going to be doing that. Hugh Jackman's coming back. Like, all this stuff comes. Wow. Yeah, all from just like. You know, and I think that's one of the problems is like the Mephisto thing. Like, everyone looked at every little thing in that show and was like, that's Mephisto. No, that's Mephisto. You know, I saw the meme where and
all of a sudden it was Agatha.
You're right. It was like the balloon guy, right? Yeah. And people were like, oh, you know, there's a red demon in the back. It's got to be, you know, Mephisto.
Oh,
like,
goodness.
So it's just that idea that's where I think missing of just like sitting in the moment and enjoying it for what it is. And not picking apart everything, because in reality...
Well, it's one thing to look at the actual meaning of something like, say, the commercials that were there and trying to understand what they're saying, but trying to assume too much detail and getting your hopes up is one thing, right?
But understanding what it's saying versus coming up with ideas...
No, yeah, exactly, right?
Like the idea...
Then you're just constantly thinking about the future for things, right?
You know, and I think that's the thing that's dangerous with getting too caught up in the hope of something always being connected to everything else, and we lose the ability to be caught in the moment.
Yep.
Right. And
you know what? I think Marvel's always done a good job of connecting things, so I can understand how people would think that they're connecting.
But they've been blatant about their connections.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, this is important. And to me, the end of this was important.
Yeah.
It was important to see that this character, she has changed dramatically from the last time that the Avengers would have seen her. You know, it's a massive difference. She's got insane amounts of power now. And she apparently has done this all on her own.
Yeah.
You know, without the help of deals and whatnot. I think that's scarier.
Yeah.
And, you know, for better or for worse, even if she turns out to be a good guy, it's still a whole different character to deal with.
Yeah.
And if she's a bad guy, oh my goodness.
Well, you know, because they're saying that her magics are surpassing the Sorcerer Supreme. So I think she's going to be a bad guy.
I think so too.
I think it's going to be.
Because she's still practicing chaos magic. Mm-hmm. That's who she is. She's chaos magic, and she's literally sitting there looking and learning from the Book of the Damned.
Yeah.
These are not things that heroes would do if they were good witches.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Totally out of left field, but I loved the Wizard of Oz reference when the boots were there under the car crash.
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just thought of the wizard thing and the witches.
No. So. But yeah, no, I totally dug it. I think the show was masterfully created and done. Like, it was a great show, and it just gives me excitement for Falcon the Winter Soldier and Loki this year. I think it's going to be fantastic to see those.
I'm super excited for Loki. Oh my god.
So I think it'll be really awesome to see.
Yeah.
Okay, so Disney Plus for international subscribers, so sorry US, got an addition to their service.
A massive addition.
It's called Star. The only thing I'm not really super stoked for is that they're not really giving you the choice to add it. It's just added.
Yeah.
So the price is going up considerably in a few months' time in summer. Mm-hmm. Going from $8.99 to $11.99, which isn't a lot, but at the same time, when you've got multiple streaming services, it adds up.
It adds up,
right?
Netflix just went up too. So
yeah, so it's that idea that it's really cool because there is so much on there. So it's like your Touchstone, your Fox, you know, there's even some Miramax stuff, Fox Searchlight, like all that kind of stuff is showing up there. There's ABC television, there's Fox TV. So it's everything that they kind of acquire. It's basically Hulu for Canadians and international peoples.
Yeah. My other complaint is I wish that it was like, we're here Disney Plus, and then now we're going into this portal of Star.
Yeah.
And they weren't all mingled together.
Yeah, so basically anything R-rated, you need a code.
Yeah.
Right? And also, if you don't set it up for that account, it only does up to 14. But it's all intermixed with all the Disney Plus stuff. So you can still have, the 911 and all these other shows mixed in.
Like G. So it's like, here is my G account for my child that I can say, you look at your animated stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I wish that could happen. Right?
Yeah.
A kid's account for that.
But so that's kind of the drawbacks of it. But it's really cool to see, because there's a lot of movies that been wanting to watch again, but they've all been on demand pay.
Yeah. Or not even there. So it's been super cool. I mean, you can't really get them on Blu-rays or DVDs economically. So that's really cool, because I've been wanting to watch like The Sixth Sense again. We were very excited going through and like, oh, this movie and this movie.
It was a little overwhelming.
Yeah.
It got a little overwhelming because there were so many things on there. So there's bound to be a lot that we will check out over the next little while. So the first one that we watched when we found it was Idiocracy.
Yes.
So this was from Mike Judd. It was like 2005.
Yeah, 2006, something like that.
Yeah. And so basically it's the idea. It's basically Futurama. The idea where the guy gets frozen and is supposed to be woken up in a year, but something goes wrong and he gets woken up in 500 years, right? And he wakes up to see what the world has become. Now, when this movie came out, I remember laughing my ass off. It starred Luke Wilson and Maya Randolph, right? Rudolph. Yeah. And Terry Crews and so, right? And Dax Shepard. Because it seemed so far-fetched.
Yes.
Well, because people talked.
Well, their IQ, it was essentially the idea that the commentary on the fact that the people who kept breeding were the people, unfortunately, with the lesser IQ.
Yeah.
And the people who had the higher IQ kept finding reasons: career, not the right market, the money issues. Then they had family problems, and they always had reasons to defer having a child. Yeah. And so, unfortunately, then the higher IQ and successful people stopped having kids, and only the people who didn't have the best genes kept multiplying or having family. They had like multiple family lines, basically. Yeah. So it was, they're multiplying like rabbits, and these couple over here don't have anything. So this was already the platform of things, and then it just kept going, right? So he shows up, and he's the smartest man in the world, but they basically like, he's a criminal, and he talks fancy. Well, because he wasn't identified. They all have barcode tattoos.
Yeah. And like their clothing is all like NASCAR, like sponsored.
They're all branded.
And, they're eating like tubs of butter, and
that was actually nauseating like, every time I saw it.
They're sitting like their toilet, their recliners are toilets, and
their screens are like, there's like 12 screens for their TV that they can watch a whole bunch of different things.
Yeah, and there's ads floating all over the screens, and it's stupid stuff like, like guys getting kicked in the nuts.
Yeah.
But the thing that was rewatching it is that it's scary because it felt too real. Yeah. It felt like they were like, in 500 years, this is what it's going to be like. No, it was 15 years, and this is what the world feels like.
Yeah.
The fact that
we've made so much of a change towards that in such a short amount of time is terrifying.
Right? I was like watching this, and I'm like, it's not funny anymore, because like, the fact that the sports drinks that everyone's drinking, like
because it's got electrolytes.
And it was just, I was mind blowing, and I was like, I really was having a hard time.
Yeah,
because, and it's not that it's not funny, like it's a great social commentary about where the world was going, especially in 2005. But it's not nearly as
freely laughable at when you're like, oh crap!
Like it's like this is like that soothsayer prophecy coming true, but like 420 something, like so many years early, like
right?
You're like, we're on this collision course. Like, are we going to watch Armageddon and realize like maybe they shouldn't have saved the asteroid? Like,
well, to me,
destroy the asteroid.
It's even scarier following recent political events to see in the movie what a circus it is.
Yeah.
You know, he's a celebrity, and they have like giant medals for their cabinet members, and the cabinet members don't know what they're doing.
Yep.
They have no experience in what they're supposed to be doing. So those types of things, you're like, holy crap, did someone actually watch this and be like, you know what, that movie's funny, I want to make it happen in real life? That's what I feel like. And it's terrifying.
But if you haven't seen Idiocracy, it's definitely funny to see if you can get past the fact that it is our world now.
Yeah. But it's good to see. Yeah, for sure. It's a funny laugh.
So what else do we find on Star Plus? Because we actually watched a few things that were on Star Plus.
We found Volcano.
And I don't know why we decided to watch this, just because it was like hey, Volcano
feels back to my childhood right there. It was just like, it was like warming.
I think it was like 1995.
So warming, yeah.
Right, Tommy Lee Jones, a volcano appears in Los Angeles.
The La Brea tar pits open up, and so then there's red hot magma flowing down.
I ain't gonna let you down there. Why, my girl? No, because it's dangerous.
It's down the streets of LA.
And you know, there's something funny. They had commentary like that in the movie how many years ago? And that hasn't changed. And that was like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And yet Mike Judge like made a movie 10 years after that, and yet it's already happening.
Yeah.
So it shows that
Mike's terrified right now. His face is just like, oh my God. So Tommy Lee Jones plays the emergency like response coordinator.
Don Cheadle's in it too.
Yeah. For LA, and is trying to solve everything and save the world. And
Save LA,
yeah.
Not the world.
But yeah, the world would have a pretty hard time with LA burning up, but God knows.
Not in this world.
Not in this world. Everyone would be fine with it. But yeah, they have to find a way to, you know, first off, believe the scientists that they're right and know what they're talking about, and might have had something to say about this, and not having to just, you know, continue breaking up the ground underneath them and destroying things, and just doing whatever needs to be done. And so believe the scientists, and before it's too late, and try to band together. This was also a bit of you could tell the commentary following the riots in LA.
Yep.
There was mentions and nods to that, and having racial tensions there, and then trying to figure out what you do with a giant flow of lava to get it away from the hospital that it was then going to, which everyone was evacuated to. So it was definitely an emergency crisis action movie, and it's classic. We were excited to show Kiddo it because
it was fun to rewatch it. Like it's pretty bad effects wise in some sections. Like when it's the practical effects, it's awesome, because then you forget about how amazing practical effects is.
Yeah.
Right. Then you see that and you're like, yes, fire. Right. And then you see the CG that they had in it, the green screen. And you're just like, oh wow. Oh.
Go back to the practical.
Oh yeah. Yeah, blow up a real building.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But it's one of those ones where it's ridiculous and it's very fantasy based.
We hope. Scientists are probably telling politicians right now, and no one's believing them.
Why? Is it because I'm a girl?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I kind of like it just because it's so weird.
I still loved it. I still was just like,
it's like the powerhouse of like Tommy Lee Jones for some reason. Like he's a good actor for what it is, and like the idea, like he's just. And when I was talking about, I was like, there's no way they would make that movie today and have someone like Tommy Lee Jones be the hero.
Yeah.
You would have to have, it'd be like Vin Diesel or The Rock.
Yeah.
Right? You wouldn't have a 50-something. Yeah. It wouldn't be a 50-something-year-old, you know, in this lead role. You know, he's balding in the movie. You know, he's not in shape.
Tommy Lee Jones right now would never be able to be in movies of action movies at all. That wouldn't be allowed. You would have,
the action star instead, right?
Yeah.
And so it's kind of interesting to see how the times have shifted. And that's one of the things that's fun about watching some of these old movies, to see how things have changed. Like there would have been a gratuitous shirtless scene. You know,
his clothes would have been melted off of him, and he would have, he would have gotten too close, and the clothes would have spontaneously combusted.
And they would have hulked it. Yeah.
Burst through fire or something, Oh, kiddo, when they were hanging over the lava on the fire ladder, he was just freaking out with anticipation of whether they were going to make it or not. It was a good suspenseful scene because the ladder starts melting and the cables and the guy's on fire. So it was like, damn. Yeah. There was some pretty intense deaths. Well,
especially when the guy jumps out of the subway car
and melts and
lands in the lava and melts.
Kiddo, we kind of looked over. We're like, oh crap. And he was just like, oh my God, what is happening?
I think it's one of the more horrific things that we've shown him, honestly, because I was not I forgot about the actual like violence that's in it, because I just remember it was like, oh, there's lava running down the roads and they have to block it with cars.
People against people violence, right?
It's heat vents and lava. Yeah. And,
but yeah, people melting from just steam and everything like that. Yeah. Pretty intense.
But it's one of those ones that's kind of fun. It's a time capsule from the 90s. Like, it's one of those 90s movies that was just ridiculously entertaining. Yeah. And that wasn't so much like a military base or like, gunplay or anything like that. Like, there was no criminal aspect to it. It was just like man versus nature.
Oh yeah.
Right. That same year, Dante's Peak came out from Universal with Pierce Brosnan and Linda Hamilton. Like, for a while there was all those competing, like, there was the Ants and Bugs Life and Deep Impact and Armageddon. They all came out at the same time, right?
Everyone had the same ideas.
Yeah. But Volcano's a good one. So if you can find Volcano, I'd check it out if you like, ridiculous, 90s action movies.
Yeah. Go live some nostalgia right there.
Yeah. So speaking of nostalgia, we found something. Dragon Ball Evolution was on Star. Fox made this movie back in 2009. It was the live action imagining of the Dragon Ball movies, anime, and manga. And I remember Theo had said, "Don't watch it."
Explicitly told him not to
watch it. And
he finds it. So what did he have to do?
I was like, hey, kiddo, guess what? Like, we gotta check this thing out. Katie had a work function she went to, so we're like, we got time. So we pop it in on the streaming, and we decided to give it a go.
Can I just say my jump to the end here real quick, and we'll come back on this. I come home, and the first thing kiddo says to me is, "Mom, Dad died because of the movie."
Was so bad.
And I'm like, okay, I'm really interested to hear about this. So I'm excited because I didn't get to see all this amazing glory. So I would love to hear about it, Mike. Do tell of the fascination.
Well, so instantly it starts off with Goku is like in his teens, like 18.
Because this is supposed to be Dragon Ball, right? So he should have been a child.
Well, I don't know where they decide to pick and pull some of this stuff from. Okay, because it is literally like I tried to look at it as like a alternate universe feel. Like I was trying to like, that's what I told kiddo. I was like, look at it like it's alternate universe, because otherwise we will be disappointed. We will be disappointed. I can guarantee we will be. So I messaged Theo. I'm like, guess what we found? Dragon Ball Evolution. He's like, don't. Why?
Why are you doing that?
He's like, that movie doesn't exist. Like,
okay, so he's 18.
So he's 18. He's fighting with Gohan, his grandpa, because that's what his grandpa's name was, right?
Oh, okay.
And then he goes to school. Well, the opening scene is like one of those really, it's so bad on the wires, especially for 2009. Like on the wires, and like stuff's blurry, and like they're like trying to like flip around and stuff like that. Like, so he ends up going to school, right? And then I'm like, this is like, they decided, they were like, hey, you know what was successful? Smallville was successful. What if we made Dragon Ball into Smallville? Right? That's what it felt like. Yeah. That's what it felt like. The idea that he's going to school and everyone hates him because he's a spiky haired little weirdo guy. and he's picked on and bullied, and Chi-Chi goes to his high school, and she's the rich girl.
Goodness.
And yeah, there's not much I can say that to really redeem it. I usually can find a positive spin for something, but this was one of those times where I was like, they really screwed the pooch on this one.
Yeah.
Like, it literally feels like it was just a paycheck for someone. And when someone got it, they were like, no, we'll just throw everything away. We're going to keep the names. Sure, we're going to do some fighting.
Yeah, what was the point of the story?
And the glowing balls. That's all people care about. The glowing balls. The glowing orbs that'll grant a wish. That's what people want. And the names. Who cares about the rest? Right? So it's the idea that way back when there was a Namekian invasion, right? And Piccolo, so there, and then there was 7
Piccolo
warriors. So he was.
Oh, okay.
7 warriors that bound him, and right, and then they died and became the Dragon Balls, I think, kind of.
Okay.
So they never explain how Piccolo gets out of his jar 2,000 years later. Right, so Piccolo was green. Oh, surprising, that's right? But he never had antenna, and he was all in like an X-Men style black suit, right? Kind of like rubberized suit. And May worked for him, right? And he just wanted to get the balls and like destroy the world. That was the whole ploy. So Gohan had one of those balls. They show up. He dies. Goku gets the ball. It's like, oh, I gotta save, and
okay.
And then they find out. Then Bulma shows up, and Bulma's like this gun-toting, like, yeah.
Did she have turquoise hair?
She had like a single stripe of turquoise in her hair. Yeah.
Like, that's such an easy thing to do. Why mess it up?
And Goku's white, Bulma's white. Everyone else was was Asian. But yeah, a lot of wire work, a lot of bad CG. And then like they had Roshi, but he was kind of Yamcha had the best voice. He kind of seemed like a desert bandit.
That was literally the only good thing you told me about it.
But he couldn't fight. And then he had like bleached hair instead of his big flowing like Fabio
his
mane.
Hair is so like such an integral feature of his character,
especially at that point, right?
Yeah,
like, you get short.
Wow, so totally worth it, huh?
And then Goku ends up becoming Orzu with the eclipse, not the full moon. The giant ape form, but instead of being like the size of a building, like King Kong, like he's like maybe 2 feet taller than his like regular form.
Slightly larger.
But then he's like, as Roshi's dying, he's like,
Roshi died?
Oh yeah. Goku kills him.
Goku kills Roshi?
Yeah, and as he's dying, he's like, you must become one with the Orzu, and then he's like, to be Goku, I must be one with.
Oh,
and then he like tries to channel it in, and then they have like a blasty fight with the Kami hey, and like,
oh wow.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. That's one. If you find it on Star, I'm sorry,
just pass
it by.
Theo, you were right.
Yeah, you were 100% right. I believed that he was bad when he told me it was bad, but
I just couldn't leave it alone.
I needed to form my own opinion because, like, sometimes I've seen bad movies and I can be like, hey, I can see what was going on there.
Yeah, you sometimes do like
can spin it right and find some enjoyment in it. But I was just like, this
kiddo when he was
it was a train wreck.
He's like, his eyes were just huge. He was like, this movie was so terrible, Mom. Oh my goodness.
But I think at the end of the day, I think we have to actually watch truly bad movies to understand what bad movies are.
Yeah.
Versus
if you never watch something that's truly bad, then how do you have a comparison point?
Yeah, because for when a lot of movies where people are like, oh, that was a terrible movie, or like, oh, actually that was pretty good. Have you seen this? Well, no. Well, there's worse movies out there in the world, and
if you only watch A-level movies, then you're just like ranking of what is the best of the worst of the best, right?
Right. And so Dragon Ball Evolution was definitely a low point in our star experience, but that's only. But I'm glad I got to watch it because now I can say, you know what, I can join in with saying that movie's crap. So we hopped over to Netflix and we found that Tomb Raider was on there. We hadn't seen the reboot.
Yeah, the 2018 version. Yeah. And
what'd you think?
You know what? I really enjoyed it. Like I always liked the original ones for what they were, but I don't have anything fandom wise for them except for the movies.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed this take on it. I thought it felt a little less fantasy. I liked the reality feel of it. One of my favorite things that I liked about it was the shots numerous times suddenly felt like I was watching a video game. And I really liked that.
Well, because this is based off of the reboot of the franchise when they made the video games that made it look like more like this too, right?
Okay, yeah. So that was one of my favorite things was a lot of the action scenes, especially later on, made me feel like I was, like you were playing it.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a really cool thing. I liked the story, how it laid out with the mystery they were trying to solve, that she was just really smart and really strong. I liked how buff she was, honestly. Yeah. That was really cool. And she had that money there, but she had good reasons for not having access to it yet. And I liked how the myth behind what her dad was looking for turned into a real thing and a science, and there wasn't anything supernatural about it. It was still sciencey fiction by all means, but
especially because they went on zombie mode, right?
Yeah, it was science fiction. If they just
died, then it would be more believable.
More believable for something to have been living out there that long. Yeah. It's cool, the science fiction aspect, but it was better than like just evil aura type thing. And I thought that was really cool. Yeah. So, what about you?
All in all, I actually really liked it. Like, I'm actually surprised this hasn't spawned a sequel.
Yeah.
Because it was really well done, and
I think a sequel would be great.
I had a lot of fun with watching it. Like, it was a great little action movie. Mm-hmm. It had a lot of good beats. And totally.
And it wasn't too bloated with characters.
Yeah.
Which was cool, so.
Yeah, which was really nice. Yeah. So, totally worth it. If you haven't seen the Tomb Raider one, I think it's definitely a fun one to see.
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk too much about it because
there's not some philosophical deep thing in connection-wise, but.
No.
But yeah, I enjoyed it, so.
Nice. What else did we see on Netflix?
Well, we thought we would dig into we watched the Academy Awards there, and
we watched the Golden Globes.
I knew that. Just testing you.
Oh, okay.
I get them confused all the time, and I was even thinking about it. We watched the Golden Globes, and
let's be honest, we watched the Golden Globes only to see what Schitt's Creek would win.
That is true. We were like, every time that was on, that was when we paid attention to it.
Yeah, because there wasn't a lot in there. Like, the movie we watched was something that's been on my list forever. We just haven't taken the time to watch it.
Yeah, but it kind of reminded us for it, because Chadwick Boseman won for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Mm-hmm. And we were like, even more so, like, oh yes, we want to make sure we watch that.
And we only had an hour and a half.
And it happened to fit into the time frame that we had, which was perfect. So Netflix, we had no reason not...
The 90-minute category. Yes. The 90-minute category. Make that a thing. So Disney Plus, 90-minute category.
So we had no reason not to watch it. So we thought we'd try that out. So what'd you think?
You know what? It is a superbly action...
You want to try that again? See? Superbly actionate. I like this. What does actionate mean?
No. just superbly acted film.
Yes.
It is. I can see why he won.
Yeah.
Because he poured his heart and soul into that role with his acting. And everyone, their acting is just... It is a play come to life.
Oh, yeah.
Plays are live. But a play come to... TV without being a play format on a movie.
Yes.
Right? So it was like watching a play. That was the easiest way to say it, but I was trying to get fancy with the words.
Yeah, and just stumbled all over.
Pants fell down and I tripped down the stairs. Yeah, no, like, it was a good movie. It's depressing.
Yeah.
And they talk really fast, and it's just really well done.
Yeah.
What it is, but you know, the end is a twist. Like, I don't want to give the end away, but there's a twist. That
Yeah,
I, was not
just
see,
like,
I did not see
at
that
all,
coming.
not seeing how it came out of left field. I was like, oh shit, like
Yeah.
things have gone down. Ma Rainey was terrifying.
Yeah, she was. Viola Davis.
Yeah, Viola Davis, and she did a great job.
Yeah.
By all means, like she
made me uncomfortable.
But she was uncomfortable every time she was on screen, on screen, except for when she was singing. Then she was like tolerable.
Yeah.
But they did a good job with that design, because I looked up pictures of her and I wanted to know. I didn't know anything about her.
No,
because she was a real person, and they did a great design with it. It's interesting because she was so terrifying and demanding in the movie, and yet, you know, the little Wikipedia page doesn't talk about any sort of those problems. But I liked when she was talking to one of the band members about the reasons why she's like that, and she was much more, she wasn't as harsh with him, of course, and then it gave, as much as it was still scary and hard to watch, it made sense, and you understood it, why she was like that, and why she was so pushy with them, and so you saw what they were up against, and you saw a lot of it come true, unfortunately, you know, of what she was trying to push against. And so it was, as much as it was uncomfortable, I think it was...
Well, it just looked like some of the shots, like your like tweaked eye, like just like stared into your soul, and like...
Oh, yeah.
Like...
It was just... Yeah, it was real feeling. It was raw feeling. It was just... and it was emotional on everyone's account, and it was a good movie. I'm glad we watched it for sure, but it was definitely not a feel good movie. No, at all. So, but it was just it was
acting
good.
Alone,
it was good art.
The acting alone is worth watching it, if you know, because it's just superbly done. Yeah. So, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom on Netflix, and
that's the name of the Black Bottom there. That's the name of a song. Yeah. So that she had. But she was the mother of blues, and she had actually quite a few albums. So definitely was an important part of music history when it comes to that. So yeah, it was interesting to just see that and how it was played out and all that. But yeah, definitely an interesting film. So now. So we talked about the episode title was Some Dragons or something like that. So we had this wonderful DragonBall Evolution.
Yeah, that's you. Yeah.
You know, I knew that's why you were here.
Yeah, right.
Right.
You knew right off the bat that was it. So Disney Plus dropped Raya and the Last Dragon. It was originally supposed to be in theaters, but ding dong, COVID.
And we have to watch our birthday movie. Yeah. I mean, it has to happen.
True.
We always have a cool birthday movie.
Right. So some theaters got it, so you have the ability to go out and see it in theaters, but it is available through Premier Access. And what is Premier Access on Disney Plus?
Well, we dug into that because we didn't know exactly what it was. So Premier Access is you're paying for early access on Disney Plus. It's because it's going to be available across the platform, included with a subscription on June 4th. But paying for it now allows us to have access early, but we don't ever have to pay for it again. It's a one-time availability early to watch it. I can watch it as many times as I want until June as well. And then after. Which I think is awesome, opposed to video on demand, which is 48 hours.
Yeah, so it's $34.99 in Canada. I think it's like $30 in the States. Now, for a family of 3, that's us going to the theater.
Oh, yeah.
If not, a little bit less. Especially with reservation seats and blah 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 blah.
It was usually about $45.
Yeah, so for us to do this for family 3, it works out cheaper, and you know what? Totally cool, because I could pause it and we could hit the bathroom. Yep. So as I said before, I miss my theater, but I am slowly coming around to loving seeing first run stuff at home. Yep. Now the cool thing about with Disney Plus, you're right. You get to watch it as many times as you want until it becomes part of the service.
Yeah, which is great because there's no other service. I mean, we like say Wonder Woman, we had to pay $20 for it, but or $30 for that. Yeah, but we only had it for 48 hours, and that was it. Yeah, so kudos on Disney Plus for allowing that.
Right?
Sure.
Like, that's actually really cool. Like, a lot of value in there for people. And yes, if a movie sucks and you can watch as many times as you want, then it kind of sucks.
But at the same time, if you had gone to the theater and it sucked, then you've already put that money in, and it is, right?
Truth.
So the only thing I did find out, though, is that you can only pay for Premier Access before May 4th. So if you choose to do it after that, then you just have to wait until June to get it. So you can only buy the Premier from March to May 4th. So, but that it kind of makes sense because
you're not going to get the value out of it.
Why do it, right? Yeah. So it's kind of nice that they're doing that.
Yeah.
But...
So, I'm going to say right off the bat, Raya and the Last Dragon is worth it.
Totally.
You should go watch this movie, pay the $34 or $30 or whatever it is on your Disney Plus subscription and check it out because it is worth it. It is worth it even when it comes out June 4th if you want to wait. But this is a fantastic animated movie. Mm-hmm. This is kind of what last year was missing because there was a lot of sequels. Because, like, really, when we looked at the best animated category, I'm glad that Soul won because it was the originalist out of everything that was available, right?
Yeah.
But this was fantastic.
Yeah.
This had very much notes of Mulan and Aladdin.
Yes.
Through the dragon. Yes. Right? So.
Quippy and full of heart.
Yeah.
And there to question and move the character and provide growth in a humorous way. Mm-hmm. And then kind of break that barrier of the real world and the fictional world feel where you kind of had that weird sense with that. I think it was Awkwafina. Yeah. She did a great job bringing that character to life.
Yeah,
for sure. So.
And it's stunning.
It's beautiful design. So many different. There's 5 different tribe areas in the movie, and they all have very unique looks to them. I think it was really beautiful. It was like it reminded me of the design a little bit of Moana, just very flowy, beautiful design. Like especially the hair. Like I loved her hair every time the hair happens.
Whose hair?
Like
the dragon?
No, but they're
the people.
Stop guessing and let me talk. The animation of the hair has come so far in Disney animation films in general. So when their hair is very flowing and the separate strands and everything, that alone is an impressive feat for me. So, and then the dragon was absolutely gorgeous. So
nice.
I wanted her hair. It was pretty.
The white and when she
shapeshifts into a human and it's awesome looking. So.
Because it's what culture is it? Is it?
I don't know. I think it kind of felt like it was its own thing.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So
it's nice though that pretty much everyone in it is of Asian descent.
Yes, and it definitely was. I mean, the dragon design is an Eastern dragon design, right? And I thought that was cool. They also kind of look like My Little Ponies, though. Yeah,
I noticed that. I was like, "Whoa, they look like My Little Ponies."
Yeah, the new design, right?
And they were hairy. And there was a great joke about how they stink.
Yeah, and it was hairy and wet. Yeah, it's gonna smell.
Yeah, you can smell the smell. But it was a good movie. Like,
yeah, I would be. That would be something that I would say. Yeah, I'd watch it again.
Yeah,
just to say I really got the extra
out of it. Totally
out of it. You know what? Well, and I was crying. I was leaking at the end. It's always sign of a good. That's our joke now, kiddo. It's like I'm leaking. Good heart movie because damn, what a good message.
Yeah. It totally had a great message.
It was beautiful, and you could see it starting to come, and it was like I'm like, oh, what about this? What about this? And I'm just so happy that it actually did end up like that way.
And there's some great action fight scenes in it. Like the animation was fluid and stunning with that. Like I was blown away. Like I really liked it. Like it's I haven't been one to be like, hey, let's go buy merch after a movie for a while.
I'm sad that I don't have the pops. And I need a princess pop now. I mean, it's just I have a new princess edition. We're not going to Toy Traders next week. I'm sorry, Toy Traders.
Toy Traders, somebody needs to drive on out this way and drop off some Raya and the Last Dragon pops. If you want to send somebody out, little DoorDash action.
There you go. They need to get on something like that. Where's the delivery service for stores like that?
Yeah.
I mean, Why has that not happened? Or you go around for the curbside pickups of places and then bring them out to people?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Business idea. Yeah, sorry, go ahead. But yes, I want merch.
Yeah. I'll have to look up and see what pops are available to go with Lady Princess.
Damn you, merch machine.
But it's the idea. Like, I think sometimes that's a sign of like a good media.
Yeah.
Is if you like, you watch something and you like it so much that you like want to go out and have something from it.
Yeah.
Right. You want to be like, have a physical representation part of your collection. They were like, you don't get something for your collection that you're just like, yeah.
I watched it.
I kind of like it. Like, we purged a lot of the stuff that we bought prior to movies, and we watched a movie. We're like, damn, that was crap.
Yeah.
Right. And like,
or you don't really have a connection to. Right?
Yeah. And like, now you see something, you're like, man, that was dope. Like, I want to be able to like put that with the Disney princesses and be like, yeah.
She's effectively, she is a Disney princess, right?
Yeah.
So,
I
think it's pretty cool.
That idea there, it's just, you want that part of that idea, right? Like, the dragon was cool enough to be able to like sit beside the other sidekicks in your collection, where you're like, actually, I looked at it and been like, sitting there going, you know what? It is really sad that Disney just doesn't get anyone to actually make dope ass action figures.
Yeah.
Like, I look at her design, Raya's design, and like think of like,
she'd be
like
awesome
a black figure, or like McFarlane's doing, like,
especially
actual articulation,
she was a
fighter, right?
Yeah.
And I sit there and I get sad because it's like, yeah, we can get this stuff from Funko, which is awesome. They make fantastic representations.
But you want to give her a pose.
Yeah, like the fact that you could have her with that sweet ass sword. She
had such an amazing sword.
It was a grappling hook sword.
Yeah, because it broke it. Yeah, it broke into little chunks, and then it
could be a whip. Extended. It could be a grappling hook. It was
a phenomenal sword,
right? Like, so yeah. Oh, you know what's coming out? This is random when I think about Funko, but the gummy bears are hitting. So.
Yeah, I know you. You're like, Katie, I want those
because they'll be bouncing here and there.
And everywhere. Too bad they don't bounce.
Well,
come on, someone make bouncy gummy bears. How? I don't know. That is a problem to solve.
I don't even know what's happening right now.
The look on his face is priceless. What?
I want to get the gummy bears because then I could take them out into the woods and then
you can find that perfect place for them.
Yeah, they'd be bouncing. You're just gonna edit up the stand and boom.
Yeah. But yes.
Run, don't walk to your nearest sofa and hit. Yes.
Get Premier Access.
Yeah, actually, no, you have to do it on your computer.
Oh my god, it was a pain. But actually, what the best way to do it? Just log on to your Disney Plus account on the computer, find the movie banner, and click Premier Access. Little button shows up. So much easier. Just do that first, then turn on the TV.
Yeah.
There you go. I made it easier for you.
Totally worth it. Do it. It's fantastic. Don't wait. Support that movie because damn, it was a good movie.
Yep.
That's all I'm going to say.
Mic drop.
You're right. Well, it's worth it. It was worth. I was really surprised. Like, I was surprised how much I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Like I was enthralled. Like, it gives hope for those original animated movies again, right?
And as I say again, a fantastic message.
Yeah.
That I
and there's no songs. So if you don't like musicals, guess what? There's no songs.
Yeah, that is kind of strange, huh? But that's
kind of refreshing.
But yeah, it's not the end of the world.
Because they haven't done one without songs for a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they didn't always have them, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, there you go.
So Raya and the Last Dragon.
A really bad dragon movie and a really excellent, phenomenal dragon movie. Just
redemption.
Yeah.
Redemption.
Okay, so we made it.
You made it, yeah. So we'll be back, and we will be back next week because we are starting our Man of Steel B verse S.
Our descent into the Justice League preparation.
Yep. Justice League preparation. This sounds like a bad hemorrhoid. Is that what this is leading to?
The descent to Justice League. Let's just do that.
Oh, just the descent. Still sounds bad.
Descent into madness that is the Justice League world.
But that's what's going to happen. We're going to hit up with Man of Steel and B vs. S. Possibly Justice League, the first time around.
I need to see this movie again so that I really know the differences.
And then
because if I watch the Snyder Cut, that's gonna be like, what was different? I need to watch it again. I've decreed it's happening.
Yeah, we are. We're gonna do it. I'm just not sure when
when it's gonna show up on the episode.
Yeah, I'm wondering maybe Justice League and Justice League.
It's just gonna be the Justice League versus Justice League.
Yeah.
And so next week it'll be Man of Steel V versus S and any other shenanigans that happened for your birthday, and then Justice League after that. So we've got a plan, man.
We got a plan. We will be back. Yeah, it'll be fantastic. So stay rad.
Thanks for joining us, everyone, and have a wonderful day. Thank you for listening. Want more rad content? Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And don't forget to subscribe, rate us, and leave us a review.
And remember, be excellent to each other and party on, dudes!